Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to 6-7 Hail Hail. I'm joined here by Asim after a fine 3-0 Celtic win in West Lothian. I just realised they got the score wrong in the title of the video, so people joining are already giving me pelters in the chat. I can confirm it was 3-0 to Celtic today. Asim, how are you doing this afternoon, and how was your viewing of the match?
Yeah, really good. A good day's work there, John. It was a game that I was a bit worried about beforehand. I know we got our victory there and broke the hoodoo towards the end of last season. But I seen Hamish mention yesterday that he was quite concerned about it as well. And it's still a difficult fixture, on the back of them getting a point last week at Ibrox as well. So it was one that I went into knowing that we'd have to be on top form, and I thought we were, we didn't need to be at our brilliant best, but I thought it was a very disciplined, controlled, measured, professional performance from us, and at no point did I feel threatened. So yeah, really chuffed with that because it's 3-0 away at Livingston, and we know we've struggled there in the past, so to come away with such a comfortable victory, it's very pleasing.
So, as everyone will have noticed, it's myself hosting again because Hamish was actually at Livingston today at the Tony Macaroni Arena, taking in a fine victory. For me, today's match was a very good one. Like, from a Celtic perspective, I think I'm going to use a word here to describe Celtic that not many people use, and that is disciplined. And I mean that in the sense of enacting a game plan and not getting frustrated, even at times when Livingston were really sitting in and trying to frustrate us. It would have been easy to revert to a situation where we're trying to force the ball into the box from wide areas and get into that pattern of, firing in dozens and dozens of crosses, like as we've seen Livingston comfortably deal with at Ibrox
Yeah.
last week. But I just thought there was a lot of discipline in trying to force the game into the central areas, trying to break them down and play, some nice passes, some nice rotations and interchanges of play. That was the biggest thing that contributed to me for
Yeah.
today's overall performance. I mean, do you think basically we enacted the perfect game plan to take apart Livingston?
Yeah, 100%. I think at the start of the game, even if we go back to when the lineups came out, I know a lot of people, and probably myself included, was thinking maybe it was a game for Giakoumakis, just because he's been on form more so than in terms of style of play. Because Andrew said, and even prior to this game, that we don't necessarily change how we play just based on the fact that obviously Livingston have got a certain style. We still want to play our own kind of football, and I think for me the two of our best players again today were the fullbacks, and it just shows you how integral they are to what you're saying there in terms of breaking the lines. And just look at a couple of the goals came from passes from our fullbacks that got in behind as well. So I agree with you there. There's no point in us throwing crosses into the box. We've seen that before against Livingston. It's what they thrive off. So the key is to keep them moving, and I think we did that right from the off. We had to be patient at times, but it was just constantly moving their back line across, shuffling them across, and waiting for those opportunities. And when they came, obviously we took them. And yeah, I thought, as you said, a very disciplined, a complete opposite to last Saturday's game, obviously, which was just chaos. From start to finish. This was a much more measured and just a nice kind of comfortable game for us, which we would have took at the start of the day, 100%.
I was joking on Twitter that Ange Postecoglou turning the Tony Macaroni Arena into a training exercise might be his greatest career achievement. And, obviously having a bit of fun there, but I think the way Postecoglou's come in, we struggled in that first game against Livingston away from home last season. But I think that the game and match in today's game showed, how effective, you don't need to come up with a specific, disruptive game plan against Livingston.
Yeah.
You don't need to get into a combative physical battle. If you play your football, you play it effectively and you're brave in doing so and you have that discipline not to get frustrated or force yourself into wrong areas, then the rewards will come. And you mentioned the fullback today. I mean, obviously we're not going to have to go too far into this reaction before we mentioned
Yeah.
Greg Taylor, who I thought was man of the match
Brilliant
for myself.
again,
Was very good even before he set up Kyogo's goal. He was, you could almost argue he was dictating playing in that first 20 minutes and really, helping Celtic get a foothold in those central areas in that attacking area. And then, it's him who finds himself in space to turn Livingston and play in Kyogo for what was a wonderful finish.
Yeah, I think with Greg Taylor, he's getting better with each passing week, and I know he's been getting a lot of praise from everyone, but it's in the absence of Callum McGregor, I feel he's really taken on that role. Even like you say, he's dictating play in the way that Callum does by the amount of times he's getting on the ball and coming in field, and he just feels like he's leading by example, in every way right now, and just so delighted for him because yeah, he's been our best player this season by a mile, and there's just consistency as well. So yeah, he starts the game and he sets the tempo for how we want to play, and his range of passing is getting so much better as well. Like that pass for Kyogo was brilliant, perfectly timed, and it was a perfect start. I think with Livingston away, it's one of those games that you do need to try and get that early goal. I think the longer it goes on, and if you're struggling to create chances, that's where it can get frustrating. So I think that's the key, and we started at a good tempo, getting that early goal, and it just I think eased everyone's nerves, and it was such a brilliant finish as well by Kyogo, wasn't it? It was it
Yeah,
was perfect.
magical. Just reminding everyone that he isn't.
Yeah,
Some of the comments that have been made about him over the last week while Celtic's top scorer this season, out there on 9 goals, looks in good shape to be the first to hit double figures. So it's
yeah,
all going well for Kyogo. Hamish Catton has a comment for us, Asim. Aaron
yeah,
Moy chat, please. And I think that's a good point, and it kind of ties into what we're talking about with Taylor today, because I thought Taylor, Moy, and Tatate were very strong in making sure we were trying to force that issue into those central areas that I'm discussing. There was a lot of rotation with Aaron Moy coming over to the left-hand side,
yeah.
combining effectively in nice little triangles with Taylor and Tatate. And I thought, Moy and Tatate were both really good today.
Yeah, the thing with Moy as well that I've really noticed over the last few games, he covers a lot of ground. Like I know on the ball sometimes it feels like he's playing at walking pace, and that's just his style. And it's been argued as he got the mobility and stuff, but he gets across the pitch. You see him popping up, as you say, in the left side, and then the next minute he's in the box. And I was really impressed with him today again. He's done well. We could argue obviously with some of the European games, people have questioned and things like that. But domestically, most of the games he's featured in and where he started, and I thought it was telling that he got the full 90 as well. When the other midfielders came off, his kind of calming influence and passing rotations, as you mentioned, he just keeps the ball moving. And again, in the absence of McGregor in that role, I think that's really important to have someone that's constantly there to receive and keep it moving. So yeah, I agree. Him, Hatate. I thought Matt O'Reilly again was quietly
Mm-hmm.
effective. He's obviously it's a completely different role to what we've seen of him. Prior when he's further forward, so he's not getting involved obviously in a lot more kind of crass chance creations or shots on goal and things like that. But he's quietly just moving that ball along, and I thought today he was quite impressive as well in that role.
I'll use another football cliche here as I'm describing O'Reilly as efficient today. That's what I felt he
Yeah,
was. Just
yeah,
quietly going about his business, and perhaps no highlight reel moments, but
yeah,
certainly effective and taking the ball and bringing us back into areas where we can be effective. Again, and just to push this through again, because I know, David Martindale had a lot of chat about how comfortable they were defending crosses, etc. And I think even Celtic's wide players today, even Forrest and Haksabanovic, just constantly trying to bring the ball inside.
yeah,
Forrest even had a moment where he nearly scored. The
yeah,
ball went inches past the post, where he has the ball out wide, and perhaps in another game or against another team, we might try and drive, um, down that right flank and
yeah.
get a ball into the box. But Forrest just immediately looking to come inside, plays, a nice 1-2 with Moy and inches past the post. And that kind of summed up the game for me before the interval. But even at half time, you're thinking Livingston are still in it a wee bit,
Yeah.
because Joel Nobley was causing a few problems for Carter Vickers at Jens. Not in any, sort of glaring chances, but certainly he looked up for the battle. So I always felt like they were alive, even going 1-0 into the break.
Yeah, you always know with Livingston with set pieces and they do carry a threat. I don't think we gave any chances away really in the first half, but you do worry with that. So it was a relief to get that second goal pretty early on in the second half, and from then on in, you just didn't ever feel under threat. And I think again that's testament to how we managed the game today, because we've been in leads before where a slip up or you see a bit of slack passing and the other team gets a bit of momentum. I just don't think we gave them that at all today with how we managed the game with our possession, and Yeah, I thought Jens grew into it as well. I thought obviously there was a couple of incidents early on where Nubly had Carter Vickers, and I think the way we dealt with that from there on in with doubling up and making sure Matt O'Reilly was stepping in when he needed to, or Jens just to cover and make sure that there was no further threat. So I thought both centre backs adapted well to obviously the threat of Nubly. So yeah, there was no concerns at all there today from us, and again just another really good confident display from us. And it carries on from, obviously we had that couple blip maybe a month or so back where we had a few performances which weren't up to it, but the last 3 or 4 domestic games we've been back to our best, scoring a lot of goals again. So yeah, all in all a really good day's work there.
I mean, today's easily a match where people could earmark it as a potential slip up or potential problem. Especially playing second in the weekend, it puts a little bit more pressure. I mean, we were only 1 point ahead going into today's game, given Rangers won yesterday. So all that sort of plays into it. But I just thought Celtic looked so unfazed today and just looked really intent on delivering exactly the mechanics of what you would deem and what people deem Ange ball into an effective display. And I know people were kind of feeling it was a little bit dull of a game or not much of a contest because Livingston were sitting so deep.
Yeah.
But for me, Asim, sometimes I just like to see those mechanics or see what Ange says in interviews and media conferences kind of play out on the pitch or kind of see how effective like the inverted fullbacks can be in kind of driving the ball forward and those gaps between centre halves and fullbacks. And I just thought you could see the push and pull of Livingston today. You could see the tactics at work, so to speak. And I found that actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree totally. Make no mistake, this was a game that not only our fans but fans across the city, they'll have been looking at that and thinking it's a potential banana slip. We've only won there once in so many years, so it was 100% a game that we'd have gone into knowing that we're in for a fight and it would be a struggle. But yeah, look, I mentioned earlier that we had last week's game, which was blood and thunder, 100 miles per hour, and whilst that was exciting and brilliant to watch as well, I equally enjoyed today. Yeah, it didn't have the thrills, but partly that's because of how Livingston set up. We know they're not going to come out and make it a game, so it's a game you have to be patient. And it was enjoyable to watch how we managed that game, because it's not often we see us have to play like that and play against a team that's not offering much, and we're just having to be patient with it. But I thought it worked really well, just the constant shuffling of the ball, being patient, getting the fullbacks involved. So yeah, there are games where it'll be like that, and I thought it was enjoyable to watch us have that side of us. Like you said, discipline was a great word to use, because I think that's exactly what it was, and it's good to see the different facets of this team come together and produce a performance like that.
Just reflect on it. I mean, someone's put in the chat there, Hearts away, Livingston away, 6 points.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
games
good.
We lost last season as well.
Yeah, that's good by any measure for me. Despite the fact that today was so comfortable and never looked in any doubt, which is always a bonus. Just going to Livingston, getting a result and going up the road is always the aim of the game for me. And the same can be said for Tynecastle. Like I think I said last week, I never go to Tynecastle expecting a dominating, comfortable victory. And so to come away with 6 points from both games, I think sets us up really well for when we might have an easier game at home on weekends and other teams have harder games. Just going back to the match specifically, you always know Celtic are having a good time when you feel a bit sorry for the opposition goalkeeper. And I have to say, I felt a little bit sorry for Jack Hamilton at Greg Taylor's goal today, because I think it was Hamilton's first Scottish Premiership game for a number of years. I think he was brought in for an injury today.
Yeah.
And Greg Taylor just rifles an absolute bullet of a shot, goes right through his legs in a rather embarrassing fashion, sending him home to be a family man, as I said on Twitter earlier.
Yeah, no, it was. I didn't know that was his first game in quite a while. But no, it was a great finish from Taylor, and 2 goals in 2 weeks for him. So because I know Ralston chipped in with quite a few goals, obviously in last season as well, and it's good to see our fullbacks chipping in, and Taylor, he deserves it more than anyone. But it was a great finish. I thought he caught it really well. I know it was through a ruck of players, and I think that maybe got in the way of the keeper's sighting, but it was needed as well. I thought that second goal just really relaxed everyone, and then you could just go on and really enjoy that last 30 minutes. And Also great to see Jota coming on, and I thought he looked lively straight away as well. His very first touch was a brilliant defence splitting pass, and then I thought the third goal was a lovely goal as well. So yeah, we're looking in good shape, John. That's the thing. We've got most of our players now back available, and we've had a tough run of fixtures without our most influential player and captain. And domestically, we've more than take care of everyone. And now I think we've got a slightly, I don't want to say obviously, but a slightly easier run of fixtures now with a couple of home games in Motherwell away, which we tend to do well in as well. So it's looking good. All we can do is take care of our own games, and I think since that St Mirren blip, we've done that, by different means of different manners as well. With the last minute goal, the home game against Motherwell that wasn't convincing, but we managed to get the job, and then we've had a couple of big wins. So yeah, we're looking good, and with all the players coming back, I'm excited just to get through these next few games before the break.
Yeah, I think Jota coming back is quite significant. You mentioned McGregor there that we've been without, but you could make an argument for Jota being our most talented player.
Yeah.
Certainly natural ability. And I think not having him available was, perhaps been, more of an impact on the team than people really realise. I know we haven't exactly gone through a run of terrible form without him, but I do think he adds an extra spark to our attack that will be, so exciting for us over the next few weeks and beyond the World Cup break. And I think with the confidence of, I know he's probably not going to go to the World Cup, but I think even being on the fringes of that Portugal squad and kind of, in that extended list that was submitted to FIFA, I think is really good for him, for his personal development. And I think he's going to be, so motivated to show you can get back to his best after his wee injury or wee bout of fatigue or whatever it was. I don't think we ever really got to the bottom of what Jota's, issue was, but I think it was perhaps a worry that he could pick up a more serious muscle injury or something like that. So we just kind of took him out the team for a bit. But I was delighted to see him just in the matchday squad today. But for him to be on the subs bench and then come on and get a goal and share in the confidence and excitement of today's win is just really good.
Yeah, he's our X Factor player. He's our most creative player. He's a player that gets everyone off the edge of the seats. And you're right, I think we've got quite a lot of players in those wide areas now that you sometimes don't realise how much of a miss he would be. But he is, as much as we've got the results domestically without him, you do feel we lack a bit of that creative spark sometimes when he's not there. With Haksabanovic, I didn't think it was his greatest game today, but I'm excited to see the two of them if we get them, because I think both of them are possibly our two most creative wide players out of the options we've got. And I think it's good to have so many options. So I thought Forrest was okay. I don't think he was poor or anything, but I thought he was effective again. And it's good just to have him as a real option in these games now, because we wouldn't have said that a month or two ago. He was barely featuring, so it's just nice to have so many options. And yeah, as you said with Jota, I think we'll get him involved in midweek in the Bernabeu, and that will be a great stage for him to try and, like you say, showcase what he can do.
Yeah, just on Haksabanovic and Forrest, I know what you mean in terms of like they were quiet on the ball, but again, I think it just comes back to what I'm saying, about discipline in the sense that they enacted what was asked of them today, which was to kind of stretch Livingston.
Provide that width,
Yeah. Stretch Livingston and allow other players to kind of feed the vacuum. And again, I just thought that the midfield were so effective at doing that today. And it all bodes well. Got Real Madrid now coming up. It's not going to be an easy one, but no. I think we've kind of mentioned on the channel before that it's almost a free hit. There's not really any pressure on this one. So you're just wanting the team to go out and show that they're capable of playing against a really good team.
Yeah, I think almost with the pressure off, you sense in these last couple of home games, you felt a sense of pressure in the air at the stadium. Even just being there, John, you did feel that, like everyone was kind of waiting to see how obviously it goes, and as soon as you lose that goal, there's a sense of deflation. I think with this game now, we're all going into it with that, just like you say, it's a free hit. You want to see us put on a performance and just show again that we've competed in every game, and you want that to be the case again. You don't want to come away with like a hiding or anything. I don't think we will. I think we'll put in a performance, and you just never know. It's obviously disappointing that there's nothing riding on it, but I think Ange will take it seriously because Hamish alluded to it. We've not got another European game now for the best part of 10-11 months, and I think you want to take the most out of this group as you can in terms of just experience and exposure to that level, and that's where we want to consistently be playing at. So I think we'll see a strong side and a strong message from Ange that this is not a game that he's going to take lightly. Looking ahead to maybe next weekend's game or anything like that, I think this game is big for the development of this group of players and for Ange. And just for the fans as well, I think the fans just want to see that continual growth. You know, it's okay in the main. People say it's been a disappointing campaign in Europe, and you know, I kind of agree in some ways, but at the same time, there's been moments of progress and there's been things to look encouraged about. And again, that's what we're looking for in the Bernabeu. And they'll play a strong team, I'd imagine, as well, given they've still got top spot to play for. So a good test.
Going to bring in some comments here. A rather cutting one from Jim Tohill. The boys beating a packed bus in a plastic car park. Can't wait until the day we are finally out of this pretty awful league. Jim's obviously enjoying the victory against Livingston. Obviously, Livingston not the most popular of teams in the league, specifically among Celtic fans. So good to see them pick up the win. Another comment here: good solid performance, 3 goals and a clean sheet. Jota back in the goal, 4 points ahead still. That'll do nicely. Greg Taylor absolutely flying lately. Everyone knows how much I love Greg Taylor. I could probably be more hyperbolic about him and what he's managed to do at Celtic over the last 10 months, but I think I'll just let him do the talking on the pitch for the moment and then come to the more grander statements about how good he is at the moment, because I genuinely think actually at the moment without McGregor he might be our most important player.
Yeah, I can't argue with that as well. I think both, like you say, in terms of his just performance on the pitch, and even just he seems like an actual leader. Like he said, he leads by example, and he's just getting better with each week. And he's now getting goals. He's getting assists. I do agree with you, and I'll be honest enough to admit that I was a critic of Greg Taylor, in the past, and you can only say it how you see it, and he's just gradually proven and me and many others wrong. But like you said, there are others who have kind of backed him from quite way back. So fair play, and it just shows you. Like you look at both our fullbacks today. There are points where in the past where we're looking at maybe replacing both of them, and people are saying they're not good enough. But they're both now integral parts of the squad, and like you say, it's he's at the moment he's only behind Callum, I would say, in terms of consistency and impact on this current team.
Comment from Aaron Black: absolutely dominated the game from the get-go, a place we usually find it hard today. Shows how far this group has come. Loads of positive displays. And I think that about sums up. We won't keep everyone for too much longer. Asim, anything you want to get off your chest with regards to Celtic today or over the last week, or are you just quite a happy man this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm just delighted. Obviously, we've now got the domestic football is now obviously our main aim for the rest of the season, so it's good just to see us kind of carry on with that focus. And as we've alluded to earlier, it was a game that historically we've struggled at, so just to get such a comfortable victory, we just need to keep going about our own business, John, and just obviously whatever happening across the city, that's it feels like week on week their mood's changing, or whereas with us it seems like we're all heading in the same direction. So I'm delighted with that, and off to Madrid tomorrow, so looking forward to hopefully try to get a ticket out there, and yeah, it'll be a good experience just to see us compete in the Bernabeu.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtic team and squad will absolutely just be focused on themselves and what they can do. Interesting, John Lundstrom managed to give an interview about how they aren't thinking about Celtic, but managed to mention Celtic 6 times in the comments. So we'll let them get on with whatever they're up to too. But I think Celtic at the moment certainly looking in good shape, and hopefully we can surprise a few people in Madrid. If not, I hope yourself and all the other fans, Hamish is going over as well. Hope everyone has a great trip, and one to remember. If not on the pitch, but certainly off it.
Yeah, definitely. No, I feels like everybody's going, every second person I spoke to. So, it should be a good trip regardless. And yeah, it's a brilliant experience for the player, the clubs, for the players, the clubs, and the fans. So, I'm looking forward to that.
Again, thanks everyone for joining us in today's live show, or if you're checking the video after the chat. And if you got any comments on today's performance or what we've said, feel free to leave them below. There's usually a lot of chat. There's actually, the comment section's pretty busy after these reactions, so if you have anything to say on Celtic, I'm sure you can leave a comment and other people will get involved and debate the match with you if that's your kind of thing. But for
there's
now,
a couple so I was going to say a couple of funny moments I remember from today as well, just with Aaron Moy.
Oh yes.
Willie Collum, and also Kyogo bodying Nubly at one point. I thought that was pretty funny. So another couple of nice moments from today.
Yeah, the Newbley one was funny because Newbley actually did similar to Carter Vickers in the first half.
Yeah.
and then in the second half, Kyogo just managed to do it to him. And despite being, a good few
half
inches shorter
his
than him. You're half his size, shall we say, yeah. And, Moy taking out Willie Collum perhaps was the intimidation that we need to finally get a penalty this season, Asim, which we haven't discussed. Despite
it's typical that we get the penalty and we don't really need it, but that's right, we've not even talked about VAR, so that just shows you how it's been a nice, comfortable day.
Well, maybe if Moy can go through a referee every week, we'll get more decisions going our way. But for now, we'll leave everyone in the chat. We'll leave everyone below in the comments. And have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll see you on the channel next time. Cheers. Thanks. Bye.